Okay, we're live. It's loading the speakers.
It's trying real hard. Dun, 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 dun.
Hello. Hello. Welcome to Year of the Voice, Chapter 3. Today we got a great set of new stuff we're going to show in a Year of the Voice. But before we get started, I really want to first just do a quick introduction. My name is Paulus Schoutse. I'm the founder of Home Assistant. Started it almost 10 years ago, 2 months away from 10 years anniversary. And I'm super stoked to be here today.
Hey,
Mike?
I'm Mike Hansen, founder of Raspy, and I am the voice guy at Nabukasa.
And I'm Joris, and I work on the Home Assistant Android app in my free time.
Yeah, and while Joris is here today, we'll get to that in a little bit. But first, what is Year of the Voice? So for the people that are tuning in to a Year of the Voice stream for the first time, because this is actually our third already, we set ourselves a goal for this year, right? Like Home Assistant, a platform for open source platform for local control and privacy. And when we were looking at what was available in the open source world, there was one feature for home that people expect from a smart home that wasn't really there in a good way, which was voice. So for 2023, we decided, hey, it's going to be Year of the Voice, and we set ourselves the goal. We want to let users control Home Assistant in their own language. And Home Assistant is translated into 62 different languages, so that's the goal. We want those 62 languages to be also supported when people talk to Home Assistant. That's why Mike joined Nabukasa. We've been working on it for the whole year, and it's been going really great. We'll do a quick recap, but first I want to talk about how is Home Assistant funded? Like, how can I work on it full-time? How can Mike work on this full-time and bring all this cool stuff to you? And the way it works is that Home Assistant, 10 years old, open source platform for local control and privacy. People have been installing this for free, Raspberry Pis forever, and that will continue. People can use all the features of Home Assistant and everything that runs local. But of course, when everything is local, it means that you cannot access it while you're away from home. So to help with that problem, 5 years ago, we started Nabukasa. And Nabukasa offers end-to-end encrypted remote connection. People will subscribe to Home Assistant Cloud by Nabukasa. This gives us income. This funds our developers, including Mike, including me, a ton of other people like Frank. And we all work on building Home Assistant, organizing Home Assistant, defining the roadmap, supporting the open source community to contribute to Home Assistant. Last year, we were the second most active open source project on GitHub. So keeping this well-oiled machine running, it's a lot of work. So yeah, that's how it works. There's no investors involved. There's no loans or anything. Nabukasa is paid for by users and works solely for the users. And all the work has been open source. All right, so let's get into it. Voice. Oh, where's my slide? There you go.
All right. So I'm gonna do a quick recap of where we are, or where we were, so we can know where we are and where we're going. So Chapter 1, much earlier this year, we started with text. That was kind of the focus. So we had text in, then some kind of execution of your command, and then text out. And this was built into a feature called Assist. And we had the Home Assistant community working on supporting different languages. They got to 22 languages by Chapter 1, which is awesome. And then we had some features on various devices. So you could use the local speech-to-text features of your device, like the iPhone or your watch or whatever. And then it would send the text to Home Assistant. Home Assistant would do its thing and then come back with text as a response. So that was Chapter 1. And by today now, we're at Home Assistant speaking 50 languages. So the various language leaders and community around this are awesome. You can see a link below if you're interested in contributing different translations of these common smart home commands and responses. And right now we have 176 contributors, and we're always looking for more people to come in and help us with this. But it's been great so far. Chapter 2, we really expanded things. So Assist got voice on either end. So it got speech-to-text input, text-to-speech output. And what we did is we let you create your own voice assistants. So in Assist, you can go and create as many different assistants with you as you want. You can mix and match components. You can set languages, different voices, all of that stuff in what we call the pipeline. And for Home Assistant Cloud users, this was a really easy thing. It's incredibly fast. You got access to all these different languages through Azure, and no extra hardware or software was necessary. For folks wanting a local solution, you could choose Whisper as your speech to text, and you could choose Piper as your text to speech. So Piper is a text to speech system funded by Nabukasa, created by me, and this is powered by community voice data. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. And lastly, we actually included new ways to use Assist besides just the Home Assistant browser web UI. So ESPHome got support. So for $13, you could get one of these Atom Echo devices and hold down the button and speak to Assist and let go, and you could have it execute voice commands. And then really cool, really fun, you could also do this with your analog phone. So through a voice over IP box, you could hook this all up so you could be chatting to Assist, or you could actually hook it so that you could talk to OpenAI's GPT. And had a lot of fun with kids talking to Santa and to Mario and stuff with that. So where we are today with Chapter 2, Piper has really grown. It's been cited in a couple of academic papers, used in a number of open source projects, and the community is awesome. We're now at 23 languages and over 70 voices, more training all the time. I turned them off because it was a little hot right now. My GPU's in my basement. And there's going to be an update here soon for the Piper add-on that includes 7 new community voices. So these are people that went to or emailed us at voice@nabukasa.com and said, love to contribute my voice. They went online, read about 2 to 3 hours worth of sentences for us, about 1,000 sentences. And then I trained new voices based on that. And you get to pick the name and everything. We will also, Nabukasa will pay for studio time because we want really high quality data sets for this. And I'm really happy about this because not only does it mean Piper gets more text-to-speech voices in different languages that we didn't have, but Nabukasa is donating these data sets to the public domain. So this can benefit Piper as well as other text-to-speech systems in the future. So this benefits everybody. And one of the most requested features for the Piper add-on will be coming here, that you don't have to restart it to change voices, and you can actually use multiple voices at the same time.
Awesome. All right. So first I want to just kind of talk about like, what is a voice assistant? How does the pipeline work? And I also want to create expectations, because every time we have talked about, we're going to talk about our year of the voice since chapter 1, since January, right? We started January 1st on this. Every time we talk about it, people are like, where's the wake word? Where's the wake word? Like Home Assistant couldn't even understand what you were saying yet, but people were like, I want the wake word. And what wake word means is that you say something like, hey G, or the Amazon's hot word. And what it does is that's when it starts listening. So if you have that, then you don't have to hold a button or press a button to start speaking or pick up the phone. You can actually just start right away. We don't have that today. Like, we don't have it, and we're not going to announce it either. And the reason for that is that we've been working on something. It's super cool and super excited, but until now, it's only prototypes. And what we announced at this Year of the Voice chapter updates is only technology that's done. Either you can use it directly today, or it will be in the next Home Assistant release in a week or two. So there's not going to be any wake word. However, I do want to talk about the rest of the voice assistant pipeline that we've been working on. So in chapter 1, we brought in conversation and handle intent. Like Mike said, text in, text out, we do whatever the text said. In chapter 2, speech to text, text to speech means you can do audio in, it gets turned into text, we execute that text, we turn the response back into audio and play it to you. Now, chapter 3 today is about refining these 4 steps. How can we make it better? How can we make it easier to use? How can we make it faster to use? And that's what we're going to talk about today. So the first thing, let's just get into the first feature that we want to talk about today, which is about our new Debug Sentences Assist developer tool. So with Home Assistant, we've been hard at work on building a voice assistant community, because we didn't just want to build technology, throw it over the wall, because that's not how it works. That's not how Home Assistant works, but that's also, we don't have the resources to do that. Like, we want to support 62 different languages, and so we need specialists in every language to help us teach Home Assistant to understand that language. So what we do is that we are building the foundation technology, And then together with the community, we fill in all the blanks and build on top of it. Now, to help people understand what Home Assistant is saying and to help them test if Home Assistant understands what they are saying, we added the debug sentences tool. This allows you to put in a sentence, and Home Assistant will tell you exactly if they understand it, if not, and if they understood it, which part was mapped to where, and how will it execute your command. And it does this without actually executing the command. So if you're testing out like 20 sentences, you don't have to turn on your light, turn off your light, etc. You can actually just paste it in and get all the feedback. And this has been really helpful. Our contributors the few that have tested it so far, have already loved it. This came out in the last Home Assistant release 2 weeks ago. The other one is you can now open Assist right direct from your dashboard. So let me just show you how that looks. This is Home Assistant. Instead of having Assist here, you can now open Assist right from here. And you can say, turn on the standing light. Right, and it turns on the standing light. Assist, you can change between the different voice assistants that you have configured. You can change them here. But that can all be opened not only from the top toolbar, which these buttons are hidden on Android. They are actually tucked away here. You can now make your own buttons. So for example, just to show what you can do, once you have clicked the tab action as Assist, you can say, which voice assistant should it launch? And if we launch a voice assistant, should we open the microphone and start listening for your command, or should we wait until you start like typing something? And it is really cool because this means you could have multiple buttons, one to speak Dutch, one to speak French, one to speak German, and you can just have them all readily available. This was a lot requested by people that are using wall tablets like iPads or Androids, because fiddling and finding that button in the top, that was annoying. Now they can make big, beautiful buttons to easily launch voice. The next feature, and I'm actually just going to stay in Home Assistant because why not? When you create a new automation, you can now actually add a new trigger called sentence trigger. And a sentence trigger in automation allows you to register your own sentences for the voice assistant. And this is really cool because you can say, hello, how are you? And now if you were to say, hello, how are you to Assist, and this can be through the front end, through the phone, through ESPHome, or Android, wherever you're using Assist, it will now trigger this automation when you're using, when you say the sentence. And because this is just an automation, you can do any action that you are used to, like play media or anything. You can do it now based on any sentence. Now, this was previously possible with like writing some YAML, some workarounds. Now we've made it super easy. So this will allow people to really, build wherever they want. Because with Home Assistant, our community, we're building the common sentences. We're teaching Home Assistant, turn on the lights, turn off the lights. But if you want to have your custom unique sentence, that's now possible to personalize it exactly the way you want.
And also these sentences will take priority over the built-in sentences. So you can make sure that you can actually override an existing Assist sentence if you'd like, or these will always match before that.
Yeah. So one cool feature that we were like brainstorming about yesterday is that you could, for example, override turn on the lights in the bedroom and make sure that if it's in the evening, you only turn them on at like 30% brightness. But if it's at night or whatever during the morning, you do like 80% brightness because you actually want to see where you're going. Boom, boom, boom. Actually, I'm just going to stay in Home Assistant, I think. No, I'm not going to stay in Home Assistant. The other features that the release of ESPHome that came out now has support for push to start talking. So when we released the white cubes or the ESPHome support and told everybody like, hey, try out the Atom Echo Dev Kit because it's $13 and it's a lot of fun. You had to hold the button that's on it to actually like talk, and then when you let the button go, it will process your command. But that's great for this small little dev kit, but it's not great for a lot of other ways, a lot of other devices that you're going to build ESPHome into. A lot of times it makes a lot more sense to just press that button, start talking, and when you're done talking, you expect that command to be executed. So that's what we added. So push to start talking is an option now. And because we now will automatically know when you stop talking, we actually were able to also add continuous mode. Continuous mode means that you say something, Home Assistant will respond, and it immediately starts listening again, so you can say something again, and Home Assistant will respond. So this is the same idea as we had with the phone call, but now in ESPHome. And the cool thing is that because ESPHome is ESPHome, and you're building this into devices, you can do whatever you want. If you wanted to stop talking because a person is like turning the other way and you're doing face detection with ESPHome, that is possible. If you want to, upgrade old hardware, that is also possible. And this is actually something that JLO recently did, which I think is a really cool video. So I'm just going to show that real quick.
Allume la cuisine.
Cuisine allumée.
Allume la machine à café.
Machine à café allumée.
Vous êtes en communication avec Assist anglais.
Turn off the living room lights.
Turned off light.
Close the shades.
Closed.
Ooh. That was such an awesome video. What I like about this video is that there's multiple things. One, it shows how fast Assist is. The moment he lets go of that button, the command is executed. There is no delay at all. The second thing is he has pressed that button in the middle, and he's changing the voice assistant that he's talking to. So instead of speaking French, he can now speak English. And the third thing is that it allows you to reuse and upgrade old hardware and actually give it a new purpose. Use it as a voice assistant. And what I like a lot about that last thing is that back in the days, every country which was still manufacturing their own hardware means that everything had their own style and design language. Like right now, we're literally back to like everything is a white cube and it's boring. So this is just really cool to see. All right.
Right. Let's talk about Android. So, as Paulus has said, so far the year of the voice has been about giving you building blocks, refining Assist, making it easier to use. And while you could use Assist within Home Assistant, when you used it on a phone, it just wasn't the level of features that we wanted to support. We wanted to make it better, make it easier to use, make it feel at home on your phone, make it act like other assistants on your phone. So to make that possible, over the last month, we've been working on making Assist better on Android, integrating it into the app. So it's no longer provided by the Home Assistant frontend. It's built into the app to make it look just like any other assistant on your phone. So let's take a look at it. Right, so this is my phone, this one here. And when I go into the Home Assistant app...
Joris, can you move your mouse?
Oh, sorry. So, Home Assistant app, and it looks like it does before. But when I tap on Assist in a second, what you'll see is that it's looking a bit different, more like you'd expect. It will start listening automatically, like a voice assistant on your phone usually does. And it's also really fast. Turn on the kitchen light.
Ooh.
Right, live demo. Let's try it again. Turn on the kitchen light.
There we go.
All right, and there it goes. And you can also see in the background that the kitchen light is now turned on.
And normally you'd hear the response through that, but if it was hooked up with the mic, right?
Yeah, so I have it a bit further away from the microphone, but it's also speaking the response. And this is my assistant I configured in Home Assistant. It's the voice I set up. It's the assistant engine I set up. It's using everything I want, and I can also easily change it. All my assistants are available.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, in previously with the before this, like it was through the browser and without HTTPS, right? You actually couldn't use it directly, if I remember right.
Right.
Yeah. So the one part of making it easier to use and make it feel at home is also making it available if you can use the app. So before, due to security concerns, browsers couldn't use Assist when you used a local URL. So if you were using HTTP, you couldn't use Assist on your phone. And now that's no longer a problem. If you can open Home Assistant, you can just use Assist.
Awesome. All right, but we didn't just bring this to the phone. We also brought this to the watch. So let's see the watch demo being prepared. Because on the watch previously, if you would hit the assist icon, we were leveraging the speech to text that was built into the watch. And the watch doesn't just allow you to use speech to text. The user needs to confirm it. So it meant you would hit the assist button, you could start talking, but then when you were done talking, you had to click send. And that is too many steps for a voice assistant. So yours made it also faster.
And it was also locked to the language of the watch, right? So if you couldn't, speak a different language.
Yeah. So this is a watch.
Where
if I refresh it.
There you go.
That's a watch.
All right. Yes, that's a watch. And it's not any watch, it's a smartwatch. So you can...
Which model is this? Just so people know.
This is a Samsung Galaxy Watch 4. So it's an older model, but still pretty fast. So previously we added a tile to open Assist. It's this one. You could tap on it. Assist would open. You would have to start speaking, tap on confirm, wait a bit, and then you'd get your response. And it would use your default assistant. If you had any other assistants, well, you're out of luck. So for this update, we decided to bring the full Assist experience to your watch. So what you also notice is that on the watch face here, I have a complication with an Assist icon. And when I tap on it, it will open Assist and, again, start listening and respond to me without any further taps. So let's try that. Turn off the kitchen light.
Turn off light.
There we go.
And there it goes, just like that.
Boom. And this once again, this is streaming the audio to your Home Assistant, where Home Assistant will process it with whatever you have configured for your audio pipeline.
Yeah, so I can actually scroll up and you see a little title here, Home Assistant. And when I tap on it, you can actually change the assistant. So you can use the same assistant if you want to use an assistant without voice or with a different voice. You can make them and the watch will remember your choice, and you don't have to stick to the default one. You can use a different one here than on your phone or on your tablet.
And so if you have a Home Assistant cloud subscription and you're out of your house, if you talk to your watch through this, what will the steps be? Where does it go?
So because Assist is now built into the app, it only talks to your Home Assistant instance. So it talks directly to Home Assistant, and if you have Home Assistant Cloud, it will go using go there using Home Assistant Cloud. If you have set up remote access in some other way, that will also work. But Home Assistant Cloud is the easiest way, and you get access to a high-quality voice.
So I thought this was really cool because then no matter where you are, you can use Assist, but even if it's going through a cloud service from your Home Assistant box, it always looks like it's coming from your Home Assistant box, right? They don't get to see where you're going to. So for privacy, I really like that.
Yeah, it's fully private. No one gets access to the data except your Home Assistant instance.
And one of the reasons why this is added for Android and why this is super excited is because we actually recently hit a milestone. Home Assistant Android app is now running on 1 million active Android devices. And an active Android device is an Android device that has been turned on in the last month. So that means that now 1 million devices are going to have access to a native assist that is working super smooth, and is private. But it's actually really cool because Joris, while he was working on this, actually realized, like, wait a second, we can make it even faster. We can make it even less taps and even more convenient to use Assist. And to show how that resulted in, share the screen for Mike.
Right. So this is my phone sitting here in front of another camera, and now if what could be easier than opening an app is not opening an app. So I've been able to set Assist as my default digital assistant on Android, and now for me, you can either do the power button or I have it set to be the home button here, this little square. Just hold this down. It's party time. And here we go. This also demonstrates I set up a sentence trigger. So when I say it's party time, it turns on the LED strip. Do it again. Back to work. And turn it off. And there you go. Now, this is also the case on the watch. So I have the Pixel watch here. And, I can do this actually without even. So I have the secondary button on the back, which seems to be hard-coded for this watch. So I hold it down. And, whoops, I had been previously running that. Sorry. It's party time.
Done.
And same thing, although you can't even read that, huh? Back to work.
Done.
Boom.
And there we go. Then you swipe away to exit.
And this is awesome. This means if you are on your phone, whatever you're doing, you can just, any screen you are, launch Home Assistant, launch Assist, and control anything in your house. But I think actually the watch is an even better use case, because instead of having a wake word and an always listening microphone in your house, you can actually just carry the microphone in your wrist. You might have already been carrying it. And right now, you just hold the button, you can start talking it, controlling it, and then you're done. And this works with any of the voice assistants that you've chosen or configured in Home Assistant. This can either go to Home Assistant Cloud, this can talk to ChatGPT, this can talk to Whisper, to the OpenAI speech to text that we added last time. It can talk to Piper, the text to speech that we added last time. And so it's really, really cool.
Yeah, I've been using this all the time now. Just one click on my watch, I can turn off all the lights in the office when I leave. Turn off the TV upstairs, all sorts of stuff. It's been great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't even have to look at the screen because it speaks back to you now. You can just listen and know it worked.
Yeah, that's right.
And so it depends a bit on the phone, if you have to hold the home button or the power button, if you have a secondary button on your watch. Like there's some variations in Android, but it will work on basically every Android device out there. One of the questions I'm seeing pop up in the chat is, what about iPhone? Well, that's actually a good question. That's that we don't really have an iPhone developer right now. We're actually looking to hire one. If you are a great iPhone developer, please hit me up, paulus@nabukaza.com. Because we're currently lacking the resources to work on iOS. It's a different code base on Android, so we haven't got it going yet. But we're planning to, although on iPhone you cannot replace Siri, right? Like that's a locked-in system. So the best thing we can do is at least to forward the audio data and use the speech to text and text to speech from Home Assistant. All right. Now there's a few other things that are like small improvements on top of the digital assistant. Joris, you want to talk about this?
Yeah. So the default assistant we just showed, it's hidden in a few setting screens. So we made it easier to set up. If you open the Home Assistant app and go to the companion app settings, there will be a tip at the top of the settings screen to set Home Assistant as your assistant app. You just tap on that and tap on Digital Assistant app, and that's it. So really easy to change it. If you want to change it back, you'll have to go to the system settings though. You can also add Assist as a shortcut on your home screen. So the Assist tab action Paulus just showed for the dashboards, it's actually the same as the shortcut. So you can add an icon to your screen, make it open your preferred assistant or a specific one, choose whether or not it should start to listen. So it gives you a lot of flexibility. And finally, if you have multiple servers in your Home Assistant app, so say, for example, you have your own Home Assistant and you also help your parents with Home Assistant, you can actually use Assist for all of them. And it's really easy to change. They are just listed in the Assistant menu. yeah, so you can just hold the power button, start talking, one tap, talk to a completely different home.
I think especially this last thing, the multi-service support, it just works. It's just really cool, right? Because maybe you just quickly want to know if, like, I don't know, what's the temperature at your parents' house? Well, you can just change the assistant, ask for it without having to open the app, switch to their server, and browse their dashboard. So this is really cool.
Or is the door locked if you just left their home and want to know if you didn't forget anything?
Yeah. All right. And that was it for today. This was a shorter chapter, and that is partially because like there's a lot of work happening on the next chapter, which is going to be wake words. That is something that we can already spill the beans on. It's going to be cool. But before we like wrap up today, shout out, thank you, first of all, to Joris Pelgrim for his work on the Android app. Big shout out to Nabukasa for funding a lot of the work around here, but also for helping with the design and technology, the backend work, especially Mike has been doing a lot of work on the voice backend, and a lot of like the documentation has been updated to reflect all the new features. So thank you, everybody. If you want to support Nabukasa, support the work on Home Assistant, the Year of the Voice, support the work on ESPHome, Z-Wave.js, the Matter server, the Zigbee server, ESPHome. Please subscribe to Home Assistant Cloud by Nabukasa. That's what keeps us going, and keeps it running. And then also a huge shout out to our language leaders. I've listed them all here. These are the people that are maintaining the different languages that Home Assistant speaks, helping the sentences be up to date, improve all the different sentences. If you run into a sentence you think Home Assistant should support, but it doesn't, please open an issue and we'll make sure that like it will be added. Doesn't matter what language, as long as it's supported by Home Assistant. We want to see the bugs coming because we want to expand our knowledge.
Definitely.
Right.
Yes.
And we're very excited for next time too. Saw people saying, hopefully it'll become Wake Word will come by next year. Nope, we'll have something for you by next chapter. So don't worry, stay tuned.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a few questions actually now because somebody's asking what would be a recommended smartwatch. Is there one specifically, yours?
I would say anything that runs Wear OS 3 out of the box should be fine. So that's either the Pixel Watch or Samsung's Galaxy watches. I think there's also a Fossil one, but that one's really expensive. But yeah, if you choose anything with Wear OS 3, that should be fine.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like the people with the Samsung watches you can change the functionality of the buttons to do what you want.
Yeah, so on Samsung watches, it's actually a bit complicated. There's a power button and a back button, and you can set an action to the power button. Double tap on the power button can be any app, so you could already use Assist with that. We added a shortcut for Assist in there, I think 3 or 4 months ago. Another contributor, Daniel, did that.
Cool.
What we added in this update is that it's available as a default digital assistant. So if you hold the power button, you can launch your digital assistant. And with this update, you can now actually set it to Home Assistant.
Right.
You have that double press to open another app.
Yeah, I say this because if anybody's considering the Pixel Watch, just as far as I can tell so far, the buttons are hard coded. You have to hold down the secondary button to launch the default digital assistant. There's maybe someday Google will bless us with a setting.
I just quickly opened the screenshot of when you go to like your activity launcher on the Android watch, you will see the Assist icon, and it will just launch Assist, and that's what you can toggle into a button.
Yeah. So this is actually the settings for the Samsung watch. You can see double press is set to Home Assistant Assist on my watch, and a press and hold is currently set to the Google Assistant. So press and hold, there are only 3 options, although if you set it to the Google Assistant, you can actually use Home Assistant. The double press can be any app.
Poor Bixby, just no one wants you.
One day. Here's another question, Joris. Will the Android TV work with Assist? I don't know if our app runs
Well,
Android
currently
TV.
there isn't an Android TV app. You can sideload it, but the dashboards don't really work with a TV remote. So it might work, but no promises.
Yeah. Marlene is also mentioning that another benefit of smartwatches is that it can help with room presence detection using Bluetooth and Room Assistant. So you can actually create more tailored to automations as well.
Very cool.
All right.
Someone was asking about which ESPHome release is the push to start talking. It is 2023.7, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So that is in that release.
Was it yesterday?
Yeah, either yesterday or the day before. Yeah. So it's ready to go.
Yeah.
The Piper app or Piper add-on is still waiting. So people give me a little bit longer for that.
But the Android app has already been released last Sunday. So you should be able to just, if you don't see it yet today, go to the Play Store, find Home Assistant, hit update, and you should be receiving it. All right. Thanks, everybody. And we'll see you for the next chapter. Yo.
Yep.